backflipping out of the start gate. This place is erupting. Saying hello to the new world champ, baby. Welcome to the Freeride World Tour by Peak Performance. We are in Val Thorens, France for stop number 2 of the Freeride World Tour, the Val Thorens Pro. It is an absolute magnetic party here. Val Thorens welcoming Freeride back to France for the first time since 2018. It's been a long-awaited return, and it is firing. My name is Derek Foos. I'm here with Hadley Hammer, and we are psyched, juiced up, and ready to go. Hadley, what a face we have in front of us right now.
You know it's going to be a good show when it's a powder comp, and it is a powder comp today.
Oh, yeah. We've had 30 centimeters of snow last night. We had 30 centimeters of snow the night before. It is stacked up and ready. The riders are on their way to the start. It is, oh man, we are so ready for this, especially, the return to France, seeing it be this kind of conditions for a comp. The riders are so fired up. We're going to take a look at the format that we are going to run through the entire Freeride World Tour series.
The Freeride World Tour by Peak Performance is back for an adrenaline-packed 2025 season. This year, a bold new structure raises the bar. 5 events with only the top 3 results determining who advances to the FWT finals. The legendary Yeti Extreme Verbier by Honda will be the ultimate test where freeriding's elite battle it out on one of the sport's most iconic stages. With more riders, around 60% making it to the finals, the competition promises bigger battles, bolder lines, and unforgettable moments. This is Freeride like you've never seen it before. Are you ready? Let's drop in.
Well, let's drop in indeed. The Freeride World Tour traversing the globe, the best terrain, the best snow, the best riders, all stacking up to bring you the best show on Earth, on the Freeride planet. Hadley, oh my, I just cannot contain myself right now.
Yeah, you can feel the energy. I mean, what a welcome back to France this could possibly be.
Yeah, so we had a chance to catch up with the CEO of the Freeride World Tour, Nicholas Hale-Woods, to find out what it means for Freeride World Tour to be back here in France.
To be back in France is fantastic for Freeride World Tour because it's the biggest freeride country in Europe in terms of number of events, number of athletes, history of freeriding in France. So stoked to be in Val Thorens. The ambition for Val Thorens is to hopefully host the first freeride event in the 2030 Olympics, which will happen in the French Alps. And staging a Freeride World Tour event is the perfect way to meet that goal.
We are back, and it's been quite a week. You know, the riders had some tricky conditions in Spain, and they were gifted with so much snow here in France, and they have been taking advantage of it. You would often think riders are, taking it chill, being mellow before a competition, and that has not been the case here at all.
Yeah, these riders, they have no chill. When the snow gets good, they light up like fireworks all week long. You can see Ben Richards there. It's been lightning. Everywhere you look, off every lift, you see some Freeride World Tour athlete. And generally, there's not a lot of people skiing off-piste here. So when you do see people just lighting it up under the chair, you're like, oh, I know who that is. Oh. Yeah, the riders have just been having an absolute blast. It has been a little bit of a roller coaster with the weather. We had some hot weather, then we had some rain, and then the Freeride World Tour miracle kicked in, and boom, 2 full days of heavy snowfall. So we have, it's just been absolutely magic. You can see people are gathered. We're looking at huge crowds here. You know, I've watched downhill mountain bike races on TV, World Cups, and the French crowds come out for it. And looking just outside of our tent along the entire ridge, it is just lined with French freeride fans. They are ready for it back at home. So we have a new face. It is the Lac Noir, the black lake you see here as the drone moves across the top. Extremely steep at the top as we dig into it.
Yeah, starting at 2,500 meters, there's quite a face. It's a true freeride face. Steep pitches, playful terrain, and 400 meters of leg-burning slopes. We'll have 3 starts today, so riders can choose where they're going to enter the face, and then it's sort of up to them what to follow. We've got a lot of blind rollovers, as you see on this video here, where the riders have to really know where they are in space. Then the terrain gets quite playful. You've got these fluted, perfect splines. Huge airs are possible on this face. I think you're going to want to keep your eyes open and not have too much time to blink, because the riders are going to be able to really go big along the Lac Noir face. And again, brand new face for the Freeride World Tour, which is always exciting. There's no historical knowledge. It's just full on.
Yes, a blank canvas for the best athletes on the planet at Freeride. This thing looks so much fun. You see there the tracks that the Forerunners made. It is deep, deep, deep out there, so plans will be adjusted. We have a look here. Thomas Diet, he was a local Freeride legend, unfortunately taken from us back in 2019. He was on the Freeride World Tour, but his friends have installed the Bichon Bell. So Bichon was his nickname. This is up at the top of Saint-Caron, so when you're skiing in that big freeride terrain that Bichon loves so much, you can give the bell a ring, and you know, his spirit will echo through the valley here. It's a lovely, lovely tribute to a man that was beloved in the area.
Yeah, and he might have been part of the reason we've been blessed with such good weather right now. We've got a little bit of wind. It's perfectly that stable -5 degrees Celsius temperature where it's not too warm. The snow will stay good. And this is powder at the top, powder in the middle, powder at the bottom. I mean, you really can't ask for better conditions for a freeride comp.
10 out of 10 conditions. So let's dig into exactly what these athletes are working towards. The judging criteria on the Freeride World Tour breaks down into 5 categories that the judges are looking at and looking for. Line being the first one. This is the be-all and end-all, the more difficult the line you can ride but still make look awesome. So athletes looking to challenge themselves with terrain. Control, of course, absolutely critical. If you're not in control, then you're going to be docked heavily, and a fall being the ultimate loss of control. Then you've got technique. That's the way you move on your skis or board. And then, of course, we have fluidity, that's speed moving through terrain. And then finally, air and style. That one's pretty self-explanatory. Are your airs big? Are you stylish while you're in the air? Are you using tricks? So you can see here, this is where the judges are set up high on the ridge, looking directly across the valley. Headley, they won't miss a thing from there.
They certainly won't. And as you said, the better you look, the higher your score. And this will be the comp where I think we're going to get quite a lot of freestyle action.
Yeah, absolutely. And you can see this powder field above, both from the down to the commentary booth and down to the judges booth. We were skiing, you know, thigh-deep powder all the way down below her. Everyone's goggles and mouths were choked with snow. It was pretty a spectacular start to the day. As we zoom in here on our judges panel, this is the creme de la creme of the freeride judging world. You have Lolo Best, the commissioner of the Freeride World Tour, alongside his co-commissioner, Bertie Denervaux. These guys have been doing it for a long time. Laurent Gauthier from Whistler in Canada, and our new judge on the panel this year, Freeride World Tour winner, Jacqueline Pollard. She knows what's up, and Jacqueline is definitely got her eye tuned in on the technique and the line. She loves to see a rider bending their skis or boards and really rallying. So these are the people that are making the decisions there. The riders are the ones that are doing what they need to do. So we have such a beautiful face here. The best riders on the planet ready to go to unleash in France. Val Thorens Pro, stick around. Welcome back to sunny Val Thorens, France. It is the return of Freeride. This place, absolutely magical, part of the Trois Vallées complex. Val Thorens is absolutely packed with freeride terrain. It is gorgeous. Spectacular views in every single direction. One of the jewels of the French Alps for skiing and snowboarding. It's been so welcoming too. It's incredible. The feeling, the vibe around here is just electric right now.
Yeah, I think France has a spot on the tour, a very deserved spot, and we're glad to have it back as part of the circuit. I think it's true free riding here, true French spirit. And the vibes are really, really high today. Yeah, the spirit's just incredible, and the crowd just building and building. There's so many ridges that face directly at the competition venue, so it's just going to be lined with people. I'm sure we have some portable raclette and fondue sets out here. Every valley in the area says they have the best fondue in the world, so that'll be tested out on the slopes today. As we see up top, things just building towards an incredible show. We had a chance with Lolo Best, the commissioner of the Freeride World Tour, to check in on this Lac Noir venue and dig in a little bit deeper into what makes it tick.
Freeride World Tour, stage number 2. Travel last night, arrive in Val Thorens, and right now we are in the ski area and checking all the different possible venues. Snow quality is tough at the moment. We're expecting some new snow, and the challenging thing is to decide and to choose the right venue for the new snow and where would be the best places. So another 5 venues to check. This is the beginning of the day, a long one to come. Right, venue check number 3, right to the top. This is now Simcaron. Snow is very compact. Let's have a look down the venue. What? How are we?
Alright, checking option 1, Simcaron. It's been blowing really hard from the north, so all the entrances are quite dry. The takeoffs, the jumps are quite dry. There's a bit of snow coming, but we believe there might be not enough snow to make it completable.
Back to Simcaron. Conditions are wild, and with all this wind it's going to be really tough to be able to have the venue set up just for one window, which is actually shown at the moment on the weather forecast. So back to square one. I think now it's time to find another venue to a lower place, and I think we've got the right one, and this is the Lac Noir, so see you there. Okay, Johnny, you got your beacon?
I got my beacon.
Yes, okay, good to go.
Awesome! We are breaking the cornices for eventually a new snow coming. And it's better to break it before they collapse in the new snow.
Allez, petit run pour moi. Oh, oh, oh putain. Wouhou. Et on n'est pas bien là. Oh.
Well, if you speak a little bit of French, you'll know that Lolo was having a good time there. This Lac Noir venue, you know, it was one of a few options, and the one they locked in on, it's pretty diverse. You know, there's a lot of different ways you can interpret this this venue.
Yeah, I think this will be quite the show because of that. And you know, you can stay lookers left, what you're looking on the screen. We've got this really steep aspect, or you can head pretty far lookers right, and there's a lot more room to play, a lot more terrain that suits certain riders, where other riders, maybe they want to go straight into the Noir.
Yeah, during the venue check, it was really interesting just listening, you know, having a little eavesdrop on some of the conversations of riders trying to lock in on which parts of this face were going to suit their riding style best. And at the top, you know, you could see in that feature, Kevin Guri, one of the local legends here, a Freeride World Tour legend himself, a Verbier Extreme winner, up there working on the cornice. It is dead vertical at the top. That cornice was quite big. They've got shovels onto it, you know, and you could see him on rappel there, or on belay, sorry, picking the edges of the cornice off so the riders can see in. But the very start of the runs are going to be quite challenging because you can't see over that edge.
No, imagine opening your front door, and the first step you take is just straight down into a pool. It's quite steep, and again, that blind rollover I think is really interesting, because the way that they're viewing this venue is from across the way. And then when you get to the top, you really can't see, and finding those landmarks of, oh, where am I on this face is a real challenge. And it's also where you can kind of see the rookies they're adapting to this. They're changing how they are able to move through the venue and how to figure out where they are.
Yeah, Lena Kohler had a great little chat. She said, they told me that the venues on the World Tour would be the same as on the Challengers, but this doesn't feel the same at all. This is our third Forerunner dropping at a start too, and you can see it's just a free fall right out of the gate, straight up to speed. And then we've got this kind of long bench. This rider was the first person to put that track across there. These tracks that the Forerunners put in are going to be absolutely critical for the athletes to use to be able to gather speed before the venue drops away again into the proper meat and potatoes of it.
Yeah, and again, here you go. You have your second blind rollover into the second aspect. But man, oh, look at that snow.
Yeah, here's your first indication. So he's just going to let his slough pass by. The Forerunners were working kind of in conjunction also as ski cutters on the face, just to make sure that the avalanche conditions are safe. We have had a lot of snow, so the avalanche control and avalanche mitigation has been very top of mind here. But you watch him riding here and see the quality of the snow, the spray, the depth. Some of these lower sections have had some slough run through, so you see their headlights not quite as deep, but it still looks soft.
It looks soft. It looks like not chunky, not set up. Like you're still going to be able to smoothly ride through this whole venue.
They made the decision not to bomb it yesterday, to give the snow an opportunity to bond, to settle, put himself into the white room. I loved how he covered his face there first.
Protect the lenses.
Protect the lenses. But yeah, they gave it the opportunity to bond. If they bombed it yesterday, there'd be two things kind of in play. First of all of that slough and snow that came down would set overnight. It would settle. It would become much more dense, much more compact, and be a whole lot less nice to ride on. Where by leaving it that day, they give it the opportunity to bond to the layers deeper in the snowpack and give it a better chance to actually stick to the face. Also, anything that does slough or come down, the deposits are going to be soft, which is exactly what we're looking at today.
Yeah, and as you said, that bonding process also created a really nice surface under this new fresh powder. And watching all the riders ski yesterday, everyone was really stomping their lines, and I think that gives the riders a lot of confidence to take airs big.
Yeah, absolutely. And yesterday was here's our fourth Forerunner. This is the current junior Freeride World Champion, and he was absolutely flying. That pocket at the very top, there was a little bit of concern about whether that was going to be stable or not, but this young man, no, absolutely slaying. And it's amazing what the Forerunners can do for the vibe of the riders. When the Forerunners go and it looks like this, the riders' spirits go absolutely to the moon. Everybody's looking at that going, oh, I can't wait till that's me. And these Forerunners did exactly that. You could see punting off. I think we're going to see quite a bit of that on this lower face. Some of these smaller features taking absolutely huge.
Yeah, it's going to be one. I wish we had the measurements, of like in a half pipe where you can measure how far up into space these riders are choosing to go and how far out.
Yeah, you can see the forerunner here just trenching as the the approach to the finish is a little bit flatter, and he's just having an absolute time here crossing that sun shadow line. The snow is absolutely perfect. We've got sun on the face, but it's not hot. At least currently, it's staying nice and cold. So the snow quality is 10 out of 10.
Yeah, this is going to be a show, and I think the riders really feeling the vibe around the inspection this morning, that last-minute pre-run inspection. You could feel the excitement, and again, like you said, you could feel the confidence growing with people. Sort of the shoulders drop, they stand a little taller, they get a little bit more excited, and I think we're in for it.
Yeah, once they settle into the rhythm that this is actually going to be fun and not like a chore, I guess, something that we have to do. This is something that we get to do. You know, we've traveled around. We came from Spain where conditions were a little bit more, well, a lot more difficult, and now they're getting the payoff for their patience, which is a full-on powder comp. This is the event village down there. You can see the big mammoth, and the crowd's really starting to build. We're somewhere in the neighborhood of about 10 minutes away, I think, from our first rider, which will be Timo Rochhoven, and the crowds are just building along the ridge. You know, the comp day morning, Hadley, you went through this in your time as a Freeride World Tour athlete. The nerves jangling, the excitement building.
It's fun being here now and getting to just look around, and almost at breakfast, I've been keeping a little notes to myself of who I think will win just based on the breakfast vibes and sort of the inspection vibes. And it's really interesting to watch certain riders. You can almost just see they're like, I got this. And they kind of stay in their own lane. At breakfast, they're like chatting and they're comfortable and calm, but they're also like in a zone starting at 6 a.m. And you watch them sort of stay in that zone, and it's quite fascinating. But it's a lot of time. I mean, these riders got up probably around 5:30, and you imagine some of them won't ski till 11:30, 12. That's hours and hours where you really have time to build in your head your nervousness or your confidence. And the trick is building that confidence.
Yeah, the psychological game's such a big part of this. You know, the preparation now is done. Now it's execution time. And if the head game is strong, then the execution can be on point and the riders can go out and actually do what they planned on doing. But there's so much more that goes into it. And the morning of, it's just incredible watching all of the different riders go through their own pre-comp routines. Some of them are very talkative, some of them are absolutely silent, some of them go internal, some of them go external, but they all have their process. So we are moving closer. We're going to take a look at where we sit in the overall Freeride World Tour by Peak Performance standings right now. Ross Tester holding down the top spot. He is looking cool and confident. He had a huge grin on his face this morning. He can't wait to get going. Toby Rafford and Ben Richards, that's your podium in the overall right now. As we move through, you see the cut line. Edvin Olsen just on the good side. Marcus Gogan looking in right now at the cut. And a bunch of big names, heavy hitters on the downside of that qualification line. But of course, we've only had one event, so really everything is going to reshuffle. There's a lot of great riders on the downside that had some issues, let's say, in the last event. They're going to be looking for a little bit of retribution here at the Val Thorens Pro. That's a look down at the finish area and looking up at the Lac Noir face, Black Lake, if you will. Here's who's dropping today.
We've got the ski men starting. We've got Timo right out the start gate, a rookie going for one. And then you start to see some of these older heavy hitters, Christopher Trudel, Carl Regner. They're right behind him. Maxime rounding out the top 10. These guys are going to have such good powder. Toby Radford in the middle there. Ross Tester, our current leader, is a little bit further down in the pack. We've got Ben Richards rounding it out, Marcus Gogan away 10. The best buds are going right after each other, and the Frenchman himself is dropping 21st, Virgile Didier.
Closing the show for ski men, a local. I have a feeling the French crowds are absolutely going to go bananas for their local riders today. There's a lot of French riders in the field. So here's your opportunity to get involved. The Peak Performance Fun Bet. This is Fantasy Freeride, and the Fun Bet fan favorites. 72% of you have your money on Marcus Gogan landing on the podium, Ross Tester at 46%, and Maxime Chablot, the 2022 world champ. I have a feeling this venue could really suit Maxime. He was buzzing this morning. He said he's got a line that suits his style. He's really good at the freestyle. I think he likes it when it's not extremely steep and gnarly, but the powder, he was saying he's got a huge air that only works in powder, so he was pretty happy to see the way the snow conditions have shaped up. The 2022 world champ vibing. So Peak Performance Fun Bet, that's who you have your money on, and it's too late for today, but it's not too late for the season. Log on, just search up, go onto the freerideworldtour.com, find the Peak Performance Fun Bet fan page, and make your bets. There's a all expenses paid experience in Verbier on the line for the overall season winner of the Peak Performance Fun Bet. So get in, get your bets in, and tell us who you love.
Do you have any fan favorites?
Well,
personal favorites?
I'm a fan of Freeride, so they're all my favorites. But I have made my bets, and I got my fingers crossed for all the friends. It's so hard because everyone is so good. You know, you're going through that start list, Hadley, and I'm looking at it going, oh yeah, they could win. Oh, he could win. Oh no, he's for sure going to win. Oh no, every one of these riders is so talented. They're so, you know, one of the difference makers I think at this level, like everybody to a point is talented. And then when you get to the elite level, the difference becomes the work. You know, the riders that put in the work, the time in the gym, the time mentally preparing, all of those things. To me, that's the defining factor at this world-class level.
Exactly, and you really see that building over the past few years. All these riders, at least compared to when I was on the tour, these riders have physical coaches, they have mental coaches, they are dialed. They have every aspect of their skiing, every aspect of their preparation really in focus and really all driven towards the Freeride World Tour.
And it's so clear to see that when you watch them ski and ride, because the level is absolutely through the roof. These riders, these athletes are so driven, they're so talented, and they're taking it seriously, and they're focused. You know, everybody wants to raise that World Tour title trophy at the end of the season in Verbier, and they all know what it takes to do it. But of course, execution time is when the rubber meets the road in freeride, or the PTEX meets the snow. You can see we've got 3 different starts. Start 1 is up at the summit, start 2 a little bit down the Cornice Ridge, and start 3 miles over. Riders that are looking to go fall line out of there are choosing that start 3 because of that flat. So we are just about ready to go here with Timo Rollshoven. He is kicking out of start 3, and we are underway here in Val Thorens.
It must feel so good to take those first powder tracks, and he's really got the best snow. As you see, he's lining up this first air, huge backflip, perfect stomp. That's what we knew was coming today, that great landing.
Disappearing into the powder with another backflip. Timo Rollshoven, the former gymnast, and now a huge 360, connecting a little bit of a hip check there. Timo fighting for balance. He gets it back.
Oh, he's got it. This guy is a cliff jumper in the summer and clearly a cliff jumper in the winter, and he's got no issue taking a huge air.
Wow, connecting perfectly with that final landing just next to the rocks, and now just trenching his way through the bottom section of this face. It is a long way over to the finish area. There is a judging line across the face here, so the judges are going to be able to lock in their scores before the riders make it all the way. If we get, we've got the aerial view here. You can see how far it is. He's going to connect with that Forerunners track and then make his way all the way across the lower section of this venue.
I think that was a quite an opening. I mean, he's working with Stefan Hossel, which is an insanely great coach. He's got a few different riders, and I think Timo, you really can see the work that comes out of that coaching.
Yeah, Stefan Hossel, a legend of the Freeride World Tour. He's got a cliff named after him at Fieberbrunn on the Wildseeloder. As you see Timo making his way through the bottom section. This is below the judging line, so we're going to have a look back at this run, Hadley.
This is a way to open a freeride line. Just huge backflip, perfect 4-point landing.
Yeah, Timo, I mean, he had to put the track into that lip. This one had some slough go over it earlier, so you can see his takeoff was a little bit smoother. He wasn't bogged down, knee deep in the powder. And then getting that 360 with the tip tap. And then let's see, putting the hip in a little bit. Ski catch. I mean, the snow's deep. There's a lot going on there, especially when you're rotating sideways for these riders. And then this final one, look at the trajectory here, Hadley. Picture perfect.
Picture perfect. That was such a classic perfect free ride line for him.
Oh, yeah. Well, you can see dead fall line out of start 3. So the riders had a big decision to make in which start they chose to drop from. That start 3, the only option if you want to get onto that steep face, as Timo making his way through the bushes here in the lower part of the lower part. Well, it's not even the venue now. This is just the approach to the finish. We see our judging criteria coming in. Line, control, through the roof, technique, maybe a little lower. That could be the hip check coming into play there. Fluidity and air and style maxing out as Timo now into the finish. The Val Thorens Pro opening things up for the entire field here at the Freeride World Tour, and the score already dropping in with an 81.33 for Timo Rolshov, and the judges loving what they saw there. So that is now the standard that the other riders are going to be looking to approach as Timo heads over to the hot seat to await the rest of the ski men's field.
I mean, he had a nice 5th place finish in our first event. I think for a rookie, he's set himself up for the season well.
Oh, yeah, this guy is a great skier. He had a bronze medal as a junior in the Freeride Junior World Championships a couple years ago in 2023. And Timo now looking comfy as we soar back up to the top of the Lac Noir face. The next rider out of the gate is going to get the fans juiced up. Mathis Fornacier, the Frenchman, a local. He's not local to Val Thorens, coming out of Chamrus, but he is French, and the French fans are going to go ballistic for this man. He had a bit of a rough start, actually a really scary start in the last event. He lost his ski before he even really got going, so we haven't had a chance to see Mathis ski, but he is buzzing. He's so fired up, skiing with Mikhail Bimbos, Freeride World Tour legend, as his coach. Big kiss to the crew, and the fans already on the ridge going absolutely wild for Mathis.
We can hear him and setting up for this first cliff. Ooh, even bigger. What a backflip, pulling it back into control.
Going with the flat spin, sailing past the bomb hole from Timo, getting up and over, kicking over the rocks. Another clean landing for Mathis Fornacier. So now we're really seeing what this young Frenchman has to offer, getting on those edges and across.
Oh!
He's disappearing. Oh, he's down with the powder cloud.
Yes, that's perfect. That must feel so good for him. From the, that is excellence when you can have a huge crash your first event and come back to the second one firing.
Talk about mental resilience. I mean, Mathis truly had a terrifying moment, cartwheeling down through the rocks, breaking his helmet, and coming back with that run. Second man out of the gate. We have smoke bombs going on the ridge. This place is going off for this French rider, going absolutely huge on that run. I'm so happy for him that he was able to put that down. That's such a sign of resilience, of mental strength, and obviously of skiing skill to put a run down like that. What a great way to kick this comp off. 2 absolutely banger runs. Let's look at this replay, Adley.
Again, right off the stop, even bigger. You can see him soar past that first bomb hole and sets himself immediately right away for that second hit.
Yeah, coming in, setting the speed, getting the grab there on the flat 3, and again going way past the last bomb hole, and on that downhill ski, pops up and over this. No hesitation though, enough control to do a shifty, so he was fine there in the air, perfectly balanced.
Yeah, he's a ski instructor, so he knows how to put that ski on an edge.
Yeah, and then this cross-court backflip. Look at him stretching his body out there, disappearing into the powder cloud. Huge poof, and then that full hand up. Another one where he has to put that track in, so there's a little bit of a grab, and then he just flies into the powder. What a great run from Mathis Fornacier.
I think he'll be improving on his previous score.
I would say so, yeah. He's still got his helmet on, which is a great start. He's covered in snow, a huge grin on his face, watching himself stretch out like that to slow the rotation down on the backflip. A little catch up there for the boys as the score coming in. 81.33 is the score to beat. He does with an 84. So the Frenchman goes into the hot seat in his first completed run on the Freeride World Tour, finds himself sitting pretty at the top of the pile after 2 riders. Incredible action here already at the Val Thorens Pro. France is bringing the thunder today.
Vive la France!
Well, you could just see the joy, the relief, all of it just pouring off him as we are moving back up. So ski men underway here, the Val Thorens Pro stop number 2 in the Peak Performance Freeride World Tour. We have 3 starts, 1 far lookers left, 1 center ridge, and 1 that those 2 riders have already used. That is start number 3, which puts them directly fall line into that, I'd say, fairly freestyle-y section of the face as we are looking now at this aerial shot. I mean, that track, Hadley, that tells the whole story. It's so deep. The snow conditions absolutely perfect for the riders today.
You often don't see the person in the hot seat with a pile of powder on top of their head.
As we are now looking at start number 1, and it is Carl Ragnar Eriksson, the man from Åre, Sweden, peak performance rider. He is a standout. 8 years on the Freeride World Tour. He is, I mean, he's been here the whole time, and he is straight out of the gate and into the Noir. This is a very different character of terrain than we saw on the other side.
Very much so. Everywhere you put your ski, you have to have full confidence.
And the slough pouring down on both sides of Carl as he motors through that steep upper section, having to wipe his goggles to keep some vision as Carl now approaching this huge cliff up on top.
Setting it, looks like, for the double. Oh, releasing quite a lot of snow, and it has to be much faster than his slough.
Carl comes cooking out of there, so he released a little surface slab on the pad of that double, but safely escaping, and now just glory skiing, milking this powder down on the lower section of the face, disappearing on every turn.
What you can't see is everywhere he skied, slough was following right behind him. I mean, he was just cleaning the mountain off.
Yeah, the
entire
mountain erupting around him. I mean, there's so much snow up there. Carl is trenching down through the flats. Just trying to, I'm sure some of the later riders will use this track to get a little bit of speed. You can just see how deep it is. That huge double there for Carl Ragnar Eriksson, opening up an entirely new section of the face with intent. That was so different from what we saw on the other side. The judges really have their work cut out for them on this face because the characteristics of different sides of the mountain are very different.
Exactly, and we haven't even seen someone from start 2 yet. So I think as a judge, you're really going to have to balance all 3 sections of the mountain.
Well, Carl, it's a long way down, but it looks absolutely pleasant as he is making his way through the powder, actually coming to a stop there in this deep French powder. Val Thorens, I mean, when they announced that this stop was coming back on the tour, the excitement really... All right, let's go back up to the top. Carl, right out of the gate, and he was into it instantly.
I mean, this is an area where, again, you have to know where you are. There's rocks everywhere, and you see him just moving and cutting open that snow as it sloughs. I mean, look how much snow is moving around him.
Yeah, there's so much powder, and then approaching the double, he lines it up, he gets his eyes on. You can see the little crack develop up there as the surface snow starts to slab away. He had to wipe his goggles again to pump off that second one, and his right foot went way deeper in the snow there than the left did, and now he has to stay in the fall line to hold basically to hold on as he passes over the slough cone. So super direct line right off the summit for Carl.
Like you said, these athletes are in the gym a lot for moments like that.
So line control and technique super high, fluidity, air and style, no tricks there for Carl. I'm not sure where in that line you could put a trick, and this really highlights the diversity of line selection on this face, where we saw Matisse and Timo go pretty full on freestyle. Every feature tricked. That one, no room for tricks. Look at the knee-deep powder in the finish corral for Carl.
Couldn't see anything. There was so much snow. Everything released. I got blinded like 3-4 times. I had to where am I?
You heard him say it. Couldn't see anything.
Here comes the score for Carl Regner Eriksson, 72-3-3. So the judges have in their say they want tricks on the face. He moves into third after 3 riders, and Carl saying he couldn't see anything, having to clear his goggles multiple times on that run because he was just absolutely white-roomed in the powder, going so deep in the landing, and as he said, the mountain just exploding and erupting around him, slough coming down all over the place, but we are nowhere near done. We're going back up to the top, and this looks like our first rider dropping out of start 2, the Austrian, the 2023 Freeride World Tour champion, Val Thorens, going to be dropping out of start 2, riding for Peak Performance and Scott. He is the Freeride World Tour partner sponsor's dream, hitting all the sponsors. This guy, he's a world champ. He's, again, another rider who's just jazzed to ski in these conditions, and the first rider that we're going to see push out of start 2. So center ridge, it is a huge cornice directly below him. So this is what you were talking about, Hadley. He's going to be dropping straight into it. We'll see which direction he chooses to go, riding out of St. Anton. They've had a great start down there, too, so he's been gotten pretty comfortable skiing in the powder.
And this guy likes to go fast, so I think we'll see how this powder run works for him, but I believe this is going to be a quick run.
So the riders coming out of start 2, if they want to access these features, a little bit more riders left. They do have to step up. There will be no dock and fluidity as Val now just getting a little pole whacking, earning himself some NAR points. You can see how overhanging that is as Val poking his nose over the void and getting things started.
Here we go, straight into it. Perfect 360 transfer.
Oh, yeah, Val landing just on the low side of that slough cone and connecting back in. So a hot start there for Val Thorens as he needs to get across this flat section. This is more challenging. Probably the only downside of having so much snow is this flat section before it rolls over into the zone where we saw Matisse and Timo go. It's going to just take a little bit of trench work to get over there. But Val, now the ground rolling away again as we move back into it.
He's entering this section, which is much steeper than it looks from here. It really shoots you straight into the center of the gut. Making another transfer with the shifty.
And Val now coming into this big cliff. Lofty 360, perfect landing. Oh, Val Thorens showing exactly such perfect judgment on the rotation of that 360, knowing exactly how hard to set, which is such an incredible skill given that they have never been off that feature. They don't know how far they're going to go.
Never been off, and as the first rider, again, you have no track in front of you. You have no lip. This isn't a park jump. This all has to come from sort of years of building that intuitive knowledge.
Yeah, that just I'm speechless with the perfection of that coming cross court. You can see, or you could see some surface snow starting to break away. It's breaking in the form of a slab, but it's only about 10 centimeters deep, so the rider's not really fussed, and it's super soft. There's not a lot of density to that surface slab that's breaking away. Incredible run there for Val Thorens. Look at this start.
Just so vertical right off the top, just a perfect acid drop. And a great transfer. He almost went too big there. He really had to hold it through that transition.
Yeah, styling out that shifty again, landing in perfect powder snow, and then knowing exactly where to go here. The early takeoff. Look how high off the ground he is.
That control button is all the way maxed.
Those little tweaks and shifties really show the judges that you're perfectly in control. No real lip there. Val just floating it, feet coming apart to slow the rotation. Perfect connection. He knew exactly where he was. That was immaculate.
He just lands, and when you see them just being able to make that turn and you almost see them take a breath, you know that he's confident.
So pure.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Very nice. Hello, everyone. Pick go through my buddies.
Here we go. The score coming in for Val Thorens, 89.67. The judges loving it, and Val Thorens into the hot seat.
What the fuck?
Well, he likes it too. The judges loved it. The fans loved it. Maybe not so much the French fans, but the Austrians for sure, and everybody else.
Unglaublich, as they say in German.
Well, Val Rayner with a master class in execution. That acid drop right off the top, so scary. The overhanging nature of that. It's essentially it's a rock cornice with a snow cornice on the top of it, so it goes completely vertical. As we look up here, starting to see the tracks take shape and the events start to take shape as Val Rayner sitting on top, Mathis Fornacier and Timo Roll-Chauvin holding it down on the top of the field after 4 riders as we are straight back up to the top. Wow, what a start. Absolutely electric. The fans on fire. The riders doing their part to bring us just such an incredible show. I mean, these are the conditions that these riders just dream of when they make their way onto the Freeride World Tour. But we're back up to the top. Our next rider, another peak performance athlete, Christopher Turdell. His 10th year on the tour, 18 and 21 world champ, and he is on the Lac Noir face.
Oh, here he goes, taking the same line as good buddy. There's a little bit less snow, so let's see if he's able to do potentially some free ride here.
Oh, yeah. Christopher Turdell just lacing those classic Turdell turns. Looks like he's on the same line as Carl. Super clean, white rooming himself in through the curtain. Oh, and he goes over the front.
Both skis gone, it looks like, right away.
Christopher Turdell falling victim to the deep snow there. Not able to hold on, and he was going so well. Looks like he's okay. But yeah, skis just disappearing in the powder. So the deceleration your feet get when they land in powder, it's so hard to judge when you get in the air because you don't exactly know how deep it's going to be. So you set your legs for what you think it's going to be, but when both feet decelerate so abruptly, the mass goes forward and you end up with the punch front.
See if we can get a closer look. This is perfect skiing at the top. Textbook control, textbook fluidity. And
well, that was so nicely executed here. And then Christopher approaching the double on that gorgeous turn.
First hit. Little white room.
Instant punch front.
Yep.
So Christopher Turdell, unfortunately, going down, avoiding the rocks in his tumble. I mean, at least it's soft if you're going to be flipping and spinning down the face. Christopher coming out of it, I think, physically unscathed, but that's a tough one psychologically. Is now he's got to find his equipment. As Christopher doing a bit of mountaineering back up the face, you can see his ski there as he's trying to get it. That's a really hard place for a ski runner to get into. Oh,
got a ski
maybe not that hard actually.
Yeah.
So we have ski runners, we have ski patrollers, guides, and doctors strategically placed all over the competition face so they're able to access these riders in case they get into a bit of strife quickly and easily. So the ski runner already there, hopefully hooking up with Turdell's ski. Looks like he has to do a bit of excavation there to find it. Looks like maybe a bit of a rock in the bomb hole there, Hadley.
Potentially could be.
So the search is on right now for Turdell's equipment, which he has left strewn above him after that punch front.
Good.
Well, while Turdell recollects the pieces of his life, it looks like if we have a rider who wants to drop out of start 2 and is not going to be in the area where Turdell is, we may be able to just continue here as we're zooming in on start number 2.
Oh, those are some beautiful looking fluted spines at the top.
Yeah, this venue is in immaculate condition. So that's the first athlete getting into a little bit of trouble there. As we go up to the gate here, I think this is start 2. Finn Griffith. Finn coming out of Vail, Colorado, riding for Dynastar. This is his first year on the tour. He had a pretty early crash in the first event. He was a prodigy as a junior and bomb dropping straight out of the gate to get things started with a bang.
That was quick. Yeah, Finn, you saw him get used to just the energy and the vibe as a rookie. I think that's always a bit overwhelming on the first few stops.
Yeah, there's a lot going on here as we see Finn popping, going way, such perfect transition there for Finn Griffith as he is loving the powder conditions here on the Lac Noir face, looking for, one of the things that's quite challenging for these rookies. Oh, a double there for Finn and a perfect landing as he picks up a whole bunch of speed down. He's riding through the slough, just trying to hold on. You don't want to do anything too aggressive there as he can use all this powder now to shed some of that speed. So Finn now coming into the lower face. That was so direct and just burying himself in the powder.
I was never that great at math in school, but I believe that was under 3 turns that Finn just took. I mean, that was essentially, he pointed his skis towards the finish line. Nice playful bottom, but he really never deviated from straight down.
Well, Finn, he's such a great young skier. As I said, he was a prodigy as a junior. He gives a lot of credit to his coaches, Matt and Justin, for getting him through. And he's got a really cool story. When in his first year in the U19 category, he said he finished like 127th. He put that result here. We're going to take a look back at the replay.
Oh, look at that. I just love how they're able to control their speed in the air.
Yeah, and such perfect connection with the transition there, all the way down to the bottom, but still finding a nice steep landing, and then another one just sailing off this section as a double, and then picking up so much speed.
Again, you see him, as Derek said, just committing to that straight line through the slough, which is a perfect idea. You never really want to put your skis sideways when you're going that fast and when the texture of the snow is changing.
Yeah, perfect conditions, but also definitely some opportunities for riders to get caught up there, as we saw the replay.
Sorry.
Woo!
Hey! Hi, Cappy. Hi, Cece.
Finn Griffith finishing a Freeride World Tour run, and a 67 there for Finn Griffith, so sliding into 5th. Ooh, what a day we've got in front of us here as Finn Griffith wraps up his campaign at the Val Thorens Pro. Valley Rayner, Mathis Fournassier, and Timo Rollshoven. Those are your top 3 riders so far in ski men.
You just look at this face and you want to go powder skiing.
As we're back up to start 1, and this man made a huge splash in his rookie debut. It is Toby Rafford taking 2nd in Spain with a mind-bending blend of fast, aggressive skiing and future tricks. This guy's living in the year 3000. Toby Rafford riding out of Sun Valley in Idaho. He's only 21 years old, a rookie on the tour, certainly not skiing like a rookie. As Toby Rafford out of the gate and straight into the air.
I'm surprised he's going out of stop 1, and it makes me pretty excited to see we're about to see some freestyle action in this section.
Whoa!
Oh, not able to hold on to it, but also able to recover eventually. That was a massive 360.
Incredibly aggressive start for Toby Rafford, and getting again into the white room, flying off this nugget on the lower section of the rider's left part of this face. Now he's just riding down through the slough deposit. He's got another little nug to toss himself off. Toby Rafford, I mean, blink and you miss it. That run, incredible. The 360 over what looked like about a kilometer of rock.
Yeah. I mean, Toby's really known for this swaggy, super chill, super flexible, really interesting style, but he proved by going out of start 1 that he also has the technique, the ability to control his speed, to really lay those skis and make a proper turn.
Yeah, if not control, at least direct. I mean, he was so fall line and so fast. And Toby is part of this new breed, I think, of free riders that have such a complete skill set. There was some chatter before Spain, like, oh, Toby's a freestyle guy, these difficult, hard conditions aren't going to suit him. And then he showed everybody exactly how precise and technical he can be. And on this one, I mean, we'll see in the replay, but he certainly went out aggressive as we take a look back at Toby Rafford's run.
Just straight right off the top. So much powder for them. And here's that just massive 360, as you said, right over rock. backslapped, wasn't able to fully ride out of it, but also was able to stay on his feet overall.
One of the threads running through here is almost every one of Toby's airs, he was head deep in the snow before he took off. You can see when the snow goes up past the rider's face, and we heard it from Carl, they can't see, right? They're popping out of a curtain of powder and then finding themselves 15, 20 feet in the air. Incredibly, like it's fun, but it's also, it presents its own challenge when you can't see properly. But Toby Rafford just coming out with full aggression as he catches up with Valley at the bottom.
Oh, that's free, man.
I feel. Oh, it was so deep, bro. Oh. Wow. Nice one, bro.
Thank you.
Let's
Thank
go.
you, man.
All right, well, the score dropping, that is not going to challenge Valley Rayner's score. 59.67 for Toby Rafford with, well, the biggest move we've seen so far of the day, but not quite able to hold on to it. So Toby Rafford heads out. He's going to shake some of that powder off his face. That's not going to bother him in the slightest. He's already got a second place on the Freeride World Tour. We know what Toby is capable of, and we just saw huge flashes of it there as we roll back up the Lac Noir face. Now we have seen riders coming out of both starts, and the tracks starting to present themselves all over the mountain as these guys going off for the French crowd. What a show we've got already as we go back up to the top to the Verbier Shred Dog. He's your 2022 Junior Freeride World Champion, Martin Bender. This guy, another part of this new generation that has the skiing skills, the freestyle chops, the mountain sense. They have it all at such a young age. Martin Bender, he is one of the most excited skiers in the entire field. He's only 20 years old, but he's skiing like he's been doing this for years.
Yeah, as you said, I think the level of this competition just will continue and continue to rise, and we're really seeing sort of pinnacle skiing, all-around skiing. Dropping out of start 2, heading towards these first cliff bands. Setting himself up on top of this monstrous rock. Huge 360, bit of a back slap, but able to hold on, and now he'll traverse across to this lower section of this race.
Yeah, that's a tricky feature. You know, we could see it when we were scoping from the top. It's a big rock. The landing is pretty flat, and the tide goes out on it quick. So the further you go, the worse it gets. But because it's so steep and the face of the rock is so vertical, it's really difficult not to go far. So you did see there a little bit of a backslap from the Swiss rider, but Bender now making his way across this powder field, just again putting himself deep into the powder before he gets into the lower section, the meat and potatoes of his run.
Bender is traversing quite far, skiers left, going for this first hit.
Oh, big 360
transfer
from Martin Bender, now following Valley's track, but in the other direction with another big 3 the other way. So spinning both directions there for Martin Bender. The slough pouring down, and he is not done yet.
Oh, I'm dizzy just thinking about switching directions.
Well, the young Swiss rider out of the Verbier Freeride team showing exactly why he was the junior world champion and earned his way pretty much directly out of juniors onto the Freeride World Tour. Tricks all over the place in both directions. Martin Bender, incredible skiing there. A little bit of an issue at the top. We'll see what the judges make of it. I mean, it was a solid backslap, but the rest of his run certainly picking things back up on the old judges' thermometer.
Exactly. He's such a consistent skier, and I think to do well on the tour, consistency is key. Again, it's 6 events. You want to be pushing to your best, but you also want to make sure your best is stompable each time.
I mean, just that first air, and then this one almost getting the hand drag, super corked out, going right down to the bottom of the landing. Maybe not even to stage 2 there, just a little back seat. And then this, look how high up he goes. Bender landing, that landing was perfect.
Yeah, perfectly powdery too. This one is massive.
Yeah, over that lower bench of rock, way down, getting bounced a little bit, but he went so far, and then popping this one into the channel between the cliffs, another one, and actually making it into 2 there. His angle a little bit skiers left, so turning it into a double. Really, really impressive scoping from the young Swiss rider, only 20 years old. It's so incredible. The sport pyramid, you know, these riders are they're coming up at 19, 20 years old onto the tour with already so much competition savvy.
Yeah, you would assume they're in their 30s at this point with how much experience they have.
So fucking insane.
Let's go!
Let's go.
Magic. So
What
sick.
the heck?
Wow, snow was so good.
Insane. Insane. Yeah? No, let me stay here.
Oh, c'est bon.
Yeah, boy!
91.67.
91.67, a huge score for Martin Bender as he takes over the hot seat. He's got, maybe a Swiss football jersey on underneath. Wow, well, the level just keeps going up. The bar getting raised again and again by these riders. Martin, for sure, the most features we've seen anybody put together in a single run so far as he takes over the Dynastar hot seat with that incredible run and great blend of freestyle and freeride there.
Yeah, he was able to, even just in the top section, again, that it's so fast, so vertical, to take 2 hits out of. I think that really helps the score.
Gros Sinjou, les autres.
Well, Bender's feeling it. We are only 8 riders in, and we have a score in the 90s already. So what a show Val Thorens is putting on for us. Incredible action. Martin Bender at the top. Valley Rayner now down to second, and Mathis Bonacier, the local dog, out in third, holding it down for the absolutely frenetic French crowds. There's so much action already, and we're only 8 riders into the ski men's field. We still have ski women and both categories of snowboarders to go, so we are really just getting started here as the camera zooming in on start number 3. There we go. We see Bender in the hot seat. We're going to see his good buddy up there in start 3. We only had 2 full start gates, so start 3 gets those peak performance flags across the big flat section. Riders and organizers deciding that it was going to be too difficult to get there from start 2, so let's throw another start in on the top of the mountain as we're going to be looking back up at Simon Perrodin riding for Dynastar. Bender getting the selfie there for all the friends at home. Well, this kid is fired up, and this is one of his very good friends, travel compatriot. They came up together in the juniors in the Verbier Freeride team. Simon Perrodin, 22 years old. He had a bit of a rough start in Spain, but he's going to be looking to make up for that as well, as Simon out of start 3 right now. We've seen the riders going out of this one. It's directly into the action, straight out of the gate.
1, drop in.
Simon is heading out. Again, we haven't seen a rider over here since the beginning rookies. We're excited to see what he does. This man is about 7 feet tall, so even though those cliffs look smaller compared to him, he's still pretty huge. Perfect backflip up the top.
Great landing there for Simon Perrodin. Lining up another one, popping. That's a bit of a setup feature for Simon as we see some of these tracks now starting to take shape. They allow the riders to go a bit faster. 360, Simon stomping and continuing on, immediately in control. This is such great ski technique as he takes this cross-guard approach. Oh! Another punch front there for Simon Perrodin. You can see the emotion. These riders, you know, this is fun, but they want to win. They want to do well, and a crash like that is heartbreaking for the Verbier rider as the emotion just pouring out of him.
Oh. His reaction makes all the sense in the world. I mean, that top was perfect. Perfect airs, perfect transfers, really nice style. And like you said, powder comps, they can be super fun, but they in themselves are also tricky.
Yeah, the challenges are different than you know, it couldn't be more polar opposite to what we had in Spain, where the snow was really hard and really difficult to manage control. Now it's like, what is your landing going to be? Is it going to be firm where you land on the slough cone, or are you going to go knee deep and your skis and feet come to a dead stop? And the answer only comes when you do it.
Exactly. And if you're following all these riders on Instagram, which you should be, you notice a lot of them were taking some crashes as they were playing around.
Yeah, let's take a look here. laying out this backflip. Simon going so far and then landing perfectly. He's got a lot of suspension to work with those long legs and using it perfectly there. And then this big 360 coming around. He looks like he's balanced over his feet, lands again so perfectly and getting onto that right ski. I mean, that's just such textbook skiing. And this is where things get sticky for Simon.
Oh, yeah, same like Turdell, an instant punch front.
Gets the shifties, looking balanced. Yeah, there was just no holding that. The feet come to a dead stop immediately. And you know, Simon's working with a lot of leverage as a very tall man and going straight over the front of his skis and down. And you could see in his reaction, I mean, because Simon, his result in the last event, not quite what he was looking for. I think he finished 17th. So this one with a no score, the skis coming off, he's now putting himself into a tight spot with 3 events to go before the cut, where he's going to need to see some strong results if he wants to make it onto the good side of that cut and compete at home at the extreme.
Exactly. His goal was to ski the Beck, #1 goal for the season, and so he'll have to really ramp it up with those next 2 events.
Well, we carry on heartbreak to a world champion, 2022 Freeride World Tour champion. He was the 2019 Freeride Junior World Champion. He is the current kite surfing world champion, Maxime Chablot. He was juiced at the face check this morning watching the Forerunners. He was one of the riders that just got so excited seeing the conditions. This man, I mean, he knows what to do. He knows how to win these events. He's only 23 years old, but it feels like Maxime's been around the Freeride World Tour forever because he came on so young and he came on with such a bang, winning the title in his rookie year. Chablot looking into the void now and getting it started.
Perfect air off that top. That's a nice way to make use of that quick transition. He knew he had plenty of runway, take that first air, and have enough speed to make it over to the second part of the venue.
Yeah, exactly. Chablot now coming up and over the rise. This is where gravity starts to work again for you instead of against you. Chablot now coming down this perfect powder field, laying out a backflip all the way to the bottom. Wow, Maxime Chablot just running out of transition there as he, I mean, the connection from the slope he was on to the lower face, he landed directly in the kink of it. That was so far. He's fine. Wow, that was enormous from Maxime Chablot.
As you said, these riders, he's the first one to hit this feature. It's really hard to judge the speed, how much that powder is going to slow you down in the takeoff or how much you're going to speed up from it.
Well, and Chablot, no stranger to going big, but unfortunately the tide going out on that landing. He just went so far, and now he's just going to enjoy a glory lap. Such a great start to this run, Hadley. Perfect fall line right out of the gate. Nice landing there.
Yeah. And here's where... Oh, you can see from the takeoff, just massive. And as you said, he landed past the landing, past where the skis make the transition with the snow.
Straight to the parking lot here. And he picked up a bunch of speed as he re-entered that track. That's where he should have landed, or where he probably would have liked to have landed, at the bottom of the transition instead of after it ends, in the kink in the terrain. So Chablot, unfortunately, splatting himself. Again, you know, we talk about powder comps being all glory, but there is this risk of honestly going too big and running out of landing. You know, it's like trying to land a jumbo jet on a mall parking lot. Like, it just ran out of space there. So Maxime Chablot, another no score as he pops his way down. He's still getting tons of powder on the way down, but the 22 world champ not going to have a say in the standings today. And another one, you know, similar to Simon Perdon, where he had a crash in the first event, so putting himself now into a bit of a pickle for the rest of the season, where he needs some strong results to get up on the good side of the cut.
Exactly. He finished 15th, so he's got some work ahead of himself. But what we love about the tour is every competition is a new start.
Yeah, absolutely. You see the glorious Val Thorens just laid out behind us as this Lac Noir face bringing exactly what we hope, which is fireworks, starting things off with ski men, and we are right back up. Tenla Katsuno, this guy, he is so dedicated to skiing that after the Bakira stop, he flew home to Japan to finish a film project and then came back to Europe. He has been on the move. And Tenla, I mean, he loves powder. He grew up in Niseko in Japan, so this kind of surface conditions is going to suit this guy to a T. He is a powder hound. He loves it, and he is fired up to get things going from start 3.
I'm excited to see what he do. This kid can do any trick he wants, and I think this part of the venue is perfect for him.
Starting things off with a huge backflip. Perfect landing for Tenla. Just adjusting his trajectory a little bit as he gets cross court. Going side hill with another backflip. If you thought he was out of control, you thought wrong. As Tenla now lofting off this one. Popping a nice shifty, getting the safety grab. Tenla is cooking one up.
Oh, just every 5 seconds hitting a new feature. Linking perfectly over those rocks. Finding the transition. If you can hear through our microphones, the crowds next to us are going wild, and they are lined up and stacked deep.
Well, Tenla, without a blink, feature to feature to feature to feature. And that last one, there were some questions if that would work as a single because there's a weird little kink in the takeoff. It almost looked like he tail tapped the rocks, but no problem at all. If there was no energy in it. There's a little bit of a weird bump in the traverse now as a few more riders go over it. The snow gets a bit more compacted on the approach to the finish arch. Tenla making his way down through the lower section. A banger run for the man from Japan. Well, let's take a look back at this replay. What a start.
Huge backflip to start, and he gives himself about a second and a half to go again. And you would think with that kind of miss of control that he would pause. Nope.
No, almost throwing the backflip over the side. Just getting pushed maybe a bit into the back seat, but the angle of this is absolutely insane. It looked like he's out of control, and then the next thing you know, he's flipping, and then Tenla flying off this one that caused Simon Perrodon problems, landing perfectly. Like we said, he knows how to ski in powder, and then look at this bump. Boom. Oh yeah, little tail tap just before the rocks, but no problem at all. Just left a track, but actually didn't put any pressure on the skis there for Tenla.
The top section was so sick. Thank you. A bit sketch, but.
All right, well, the judges have had their say for Tenla Katsuno. It's up 76-6-7 for Tenla, so he is going to slide into 5th. A solid result there. He finished 10th in Spain. So, I mean, we're nowhere near even halfway through the field, so who knows where that's going to end up. You can see the peak performance setup here. They've got the big air mattress, having a party in France, a free ride party at Val Thorens. Martin Bender holding it down at the top with the 91.67 Valley Rainer. Right behind him, wow. Well, this is just everything we hoped it would be. POW Comp in France, the vibes absolutely electric. The crowd's thick on the ridgetop watching as we go back up to start 1. The next rider out of the gate from Whistler, Tom Pfeiffer, setting a record for G-forces in Spain. His carved sensors on his boots showed 16 Gs in his Tomahawk. Basically, he is an astronaut. Tom Pfeiffer, World Tour Tom, back on the tour. An absolute staple on the Freeride World Tour, coming out of Whistler Blackcomb, 4 seasons on the tour. And earning his way back this year through the Challengers, Tom Pfeiffer in the Noir. This is where he lives and breathes.
The steeper it gets, the better his skiing becomes. I think he's going to lace through this. You see him just moving through this rocky
Whoa,
terrain.
taking that as a double. Now Tom Pfeiffer approaching the area. Looks like he got... I don't know what happened. Did he lose a ski there?
Yep. Yeah, his ski is gone.
Oh, Tom Pfeiffer just walking out of his ski. Can't even see where it happened. Just coming to an abrupt stop. The drone looking for his ski.
You could see him get really trenched in one turn.
Yeah, we're as confused here as Tom is. As another one, the emotion just pouring there. Tom absolutely frustrated. The ski just deciding it didn't want to play anymore. There it is. Just right in the middle of a track. I don't know. That was weird. Maybe the replay will show us something. Tom with a really hot start.
just skipping. I mean, you can see the rocks in those first landing, and they caused him no issue whatsoever.
Sailing off that straight into the air again, getting a little bit out of sorts in the air, but then handling it, slowing himself down as we see the drone's eye view. Great landing, back into the air again, landing that fine. And then he's approaching the takeoff of the double. His ski just came off.
The ski just came off.
The downhill ski, that's the one that gives you all your grip, all your direction, and all your control. Just walking out of it.
Oh, heartbreaking for Tom.
Well, that is brutal. So now we've got another rider with the 2 results on the side of things that you don't want to be. That is heartbreaking for Tom Pfeiffer, as his ski just deciding it didn't want anything to do with it. I really... Hard to understand that one, but Tom Pfeiffer, you could see him when he flopped over there, he just confused, not really understanding what was going on. He was just laying into a turn. So Tom now just has this time. Hopefully the powder takes some of the sting out of it.
Yeah, and again, it's 6 comps. You really have to believe, like, okay, I can just put pedal to the metal for the rest of them.
Well, and the talent and drive and ability is certainly there for Tom, so he's going to have to reset and go home to Kicking Horse and see what he can do there. But we are straight back into it here. Abel Moga. Abel getting himself a season wild card in Spain, and now he is going to be on the tour for the rest of the year. Locked himself in with a 12th place finish, and Abel out of start 1, but going in a different direction.
Oh, fascinating. We haven't seen anyone go over this direction from start 1.
Well, it looks like he's trying to get as much speed as he can. When are we going to see him pop back? Oh, huge backflip off the corners for Abel and straight into a punch front.
Also lost. Does he have both of his skis?
No, his ski leaving the chat there. While he was roasting down the ridge top, you could see something was cooking for Abel. There's no way that you'd ski down that ridge with that kind of pace unless you had some seriously nasty intent. And oh, por favor, what could have been for Abel Moga. As unfortunately, yeah, the ski's gone there. So, but let's look as that backflip, enormous. He lands, it looks okay for a second, but on the first punch front, the ski deciding it was not interested in staying involved in what Abel wanted to do to it.
No, but what a skill set. I mean, cornices, they are nothing to mess with. And if you're going to launch off of them, you also are going off of them completely blind. He had to really study where he was going to do that takeoff.
Yeah, so blind. And his trajectory was perfect. He was over the rocks. He was clear of everything. He had transition on the landing. The snow maybe just proving to be a little bit too deep as another rider going over the tips of his skis. He's trying to direct the ski runner now to find that lost ski. The snow up there is so deep. So, we had a hot start with a lot of stomped runs out of the right off the bat. Now, Lac Noir starting to bite back a little bit. There's definitely some challenges with this deep snow.
Exactly. I think riders are realizing that and potentially making some adjustments as they're at the top.
Yeah, ideally they're watching what their competitors are doing from the top, and they can adjust. But there's not a lot you can do when you don't know exactly the surface you're going to land on, or in this case, land in. So you set your legs and hope that it's going to work. But I think a little bit of a tails first approach in this deeper snow is going to work. But then if it's hard, you backslap. So it is a little bit of a gamble, a little bit of a roll of the dice, and it's one of the things a little bit more inconsistent. All right, we are going back to the top of start 3 with Oscar Menden, our second French rider of the day, coming out of Avoriaz, the backflip master. Oscar looking for a strong result, looking to come back. He had a 19th in the last event, and Oscar Menden now on the Lac Noir face. Backflip incoming?
I believe so. He did his first freeride comp here ever, and so I think he's got some really great memories. Also, podium in a slopestyle event, so we'll see. As he shows us, he's got the tricks in the bag.
Perfect backflip as Oscar with another one way past the bomb holes, landing perfect, trying to get control as he comes up and over this one, clearing the rocks. Oscar Menden with intensity as he is putting the pedal to the metal here on the Lac Noir face. He's got another big one here following the tracks that we saw, collecting 2 for the price of 1 there. And the French crowd going ballistic here for their home hero, Oscar Mandin. What a great run for the Frenchman.
That must feel so nice. He fell his first hit in Baccarat, so he's pretty excited. I think that hometown energy, the fresh fromage, he is back, he is ready to go, and he's such a multi-disciplined rider.
Yeah, I love watching Oscar ski. He's got that stacked up intensity where the runs just build and build and build and build. There's no dead space at all, and he's shown time and again why he is a Freeride World Tour favorite. And I mean, in this place specifically, with the French fans just going absolutely nuts. I mean, I can't even explain the vibe here on the ridgetop and all around the resort. These fans are so behind their heroes.
Setting up perfect way to start the comp. Huge backflip. Perfect landing.
Yeah, you could see the skis slow down slightly, but Oscar muscling through it. Another big backflip, and this one he had to get onto that left ski immediately, and that little nub there slowing him down just the right amount to give himself direction for the next one. So many features here on this run for Oscar.
He's just playing bingo with the mountain.
And then taking that one a little bit more skiers left to turn it into a double. Direct, aggressive, fast, and fluid for Oscar Mandin, and the crowd loving it. Electric vibes here in Val Thorens.
Mon gars, malade. Tellement beau. Mon Dieu, ça va un peu. Il est à la maison, Steve.
All right, well, the judges have had their say. Score coming in 87 for Oscar Mandin, moving him into a podium position. They loved it, so not going to bother Martin Bender there in the hot seat. Here we go. Look at this electric crowd. You can buy your favorite riders' bibs on freerideworldtour.com, so these fans have the home heroes on their bibs, going absolutely ham here for their favorite Freeride World Tour riders. Woo! Val Thorens bringing the heat. So Martin Bender, Valley Rayner, Oscar Mandin, the other hometown hero, getting bumped off the podium there. Mathis Fornacier, Timo Rochhoven rounding out the top 5. And then as we look a little further down, a whole bunch of NSs. That means no score. If your ski or snowboard comes off, then the judges give you a no score. So you will be ranked as you were up to that point. We're going back up to start 2, though, for our next rider, Edvin Olsen, the man from Åre, Sweden, raised inches from the base of the ski lift. This guy is so smooth, so stylish, and so strong. I love watching Edvin ski with a 13th under his belt so far, so he's going to want to step that up, and I have no doubt that these powder conditions are going to be catnip for the Swedish rider.
Setting himself up, just hiking again. Their run doesn't start until they drop, so they're allowed to go across this cornice line until they're ready.
Yeah, so he's up and over now. Edvin Olsen, he's behind the cornice ridge. We'll see popping out, airing off the cornice.
Oh, beautiful.
Oh, that was clean. Edvin Olsen, he's another tall rider similar to Simon Perrodon, where he's got lots of travel in the suspension, just bouncing his way through the powder. I mean, this is just... It's a nice little break, and it's a chance to kind of bring the playful side into it as they move across the flats. The snow there is so deep. He's going to get back into that track now to give himself some pace as he heads into the part where it rolls over and we can get some speed up.
Really strong technical skier. He can bend the ski, can enjoy some powder turns, and he can also very smooth in the air.
Yeah, Edvin Olsen now picking up speed. He's got a track to work with, popping himself up and over in the air. Nice connection back with the transition. Big nose awaiting Edvin Olsen. Lofty 360, just clearing the rocks, but not able to hold on. That was close. Not maybe quite enough speed on that one for Edvin.
I think so. Another ski missing. This venue is eating skis. You can see as his leg just dips so far down into the snow. It is deep in these landings. You've had a ton of slough sort of build up on top of already the 30 centimeters that fell last night.
Getting the wave there from the Swedish man. So he's okay. He's just going to have to reconnect himself with his equipment. A heartbreaker for Edvin Olsen as another one putting himself into a tough spot after 2. This start was so sick. I mean, as you said earlier, Hadley, that is dead blind. You just have to trust your scoping, and you know, visual inspection makes that so difficult.
And I love the way he just confidently rides. He's a fairly quiet guy.
So he did clear the rocks, but I think the landing maybe just a touch too flat there.
Yeah.
So Edvin waiting for the ski runners, maybe just going to take things into his own hands and start boot packing, wallowing more like it, up through this deep powder. Sometimes when you're hiking in powder, you have that moment, you could almost see it in Edvin's body language there, where you're like, oh, this is really deep and difficult.
Deep and difficult, and not what you want to do after you've just crashed. Really let the heartbreak set in here.
Right now? Okay, so not while Edvin's hiking. Well, we see Martin Bender. That's another big challenge that's not going to bother him in that hot seat, sitting in the beautiful sunshine. Singing songs and having a good time.
We've got the ski ninja coming in, looking for the ski.
Yeah, Edvin can put his ski back on. We got people to take care of business for these riders when things get a little haywire, as we just saw for Edvin Olsen. So yeah, a bit of a mixed bag here for the riders, finding the right landings, finding the connection, and having the ability to hold on in those deep powdered landings. Definitely proving not as easy as we might have thought when we arrived here for a POW comp.
Exactly. You know, unpopular opinion, I, in my comp days, loved the hard pack comp days. You knew what you were going to get, and you knew that as long as you went to the gym all summer, you could handle those landings.
Yeah, there is something to be said for consistency. You know, if you know what you're getting, then you know how to set your body, set your legs for the impacts. This is a little bit more of a question mark when riders get into the air. And it was good to look back at the replay and see that Edvin, he cleared the rocks. His carry, his distance was appropriate, was the right distance for the air, just unable to keep it together in that deep snow. You can see him even just standing there without any more. All right, we're back up to the top. Ross Tester with the win in Bakir Barrett. This run was insane. Hadley, all the pieces coming together.
All the pieces and all the fire. This guy was going fast and hot.
92. What?
Well, he was probably the only one surprised by that score. Ross Tester, he's looking like he's going to be starting from start number 1. He will be wearing the golden bib. That is the current leader of the Freeride World Tour by Peak Performance in the ski men's category, which is where we are at right now. He's the 16th rider out of 21. So we are ticking away through the ski men's field as we look up start number 1. It is steep and gnarly up there. The French Alps providing an absolutely spectacular backdrop for this day. So Ross, he's back from the gate a little bit as he wants to take some heat into the first feature. You can see directly in front of him there's a little ledge there, and Ross looking to get a bit of pace as he's going to push himself and slingshot out of the gate for our current leader, Ross Tester. Well, a 360 right out of the start gate, and another one. Ross Tester getting control, a little hung up on the rocks there, Hadley, as he makes his way into this extremely steep part of the face.
Whew, are you entertained, or is it just me? I mean, we were wondering if that steep section would have any tricks involved, and Ross just answered us.
Yeah, coming across now onto this nugget, laying out a backflip with a late 180.
Yeah.
Bro, what did I just see? Ross bringing full freestyle into this section. A huge long backflip there. Ross Tester. Wow, I don't even know what to make of that. I mean, it happened so quickly, spinning right out of the start gate. The backflip with the late 180, was that on purpose? For sure it was on purpose.
Definitely.
Ross doesn't do things by accident.
You know, the last few days I've been watching Ross on YouTube quite a bit, but he's been watching a lot of like Blizzard of Oz, real late 80s, 90s skiing, and I think he's so entertained by what can you do on a pair of skis.
Yeah, he's always kind of testing the boundaries, he's got like an old school flavor, but with a full new school mentality. And that was just incredible. The top section alone, bang, 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 right out of the start gate, 3 hits before you could blink, spinning. Hopefully we'll see it again, but I think both ways there. Ross Tester, again, the skill set is so complete. He has all of the aspects. Let's go back up to the top, Hadley. Oh, he would switch on the gate.
Oh, man, that is a certain level of commitment. And then you see here, it's like his feet are almost on fire. He's making such quick turns.
Backflip, late 180, trying to land switch, like barrel rolling out of it. So line score, absolutely max. Definitely going to be a little bit of a significant dock and control. And then flipping that feature that looks like it's not even a meter high. Ross Tester using every ounce of the juice out of this orange here on the Lac Noir face. Whoa,
creativity through the roof.
Yeah, absolutely. Maximum creativity for the Palisades at Tahoe rider. This guy is a force on the Freeride World Tour, and he would be high on my list of people that love skiing the most.
Nice run, bro. That's sick. What happened on the flip? I was about to land switch. Or? I tried to land switch. Man. So sick. You're crazy. What do I get? 50? No.
Well, the boys looking at the screen here. The score coming in for Ross Tester, 63. So yeah, that control issue definitely costing him as he moves into 9th. But Ross making a statement.
Every turn I made.
That he wants to, he's a pioneer in the field here. He's trying things that nobody's even thinking about. A backflip to late 180, landing switch in powder. Incredible there. So Martin Bender, that's got to be a big one when you're down there in the hot seat to see Ross Tester come down and not knock you out. He's going to start to slow his breathing a little bit, but there are still some extremely talented riders yet to go. This next man, certainly one of them, Joan Aracil, the Andorran rider. You know, back a few years ago in Andorra at the Arcalys or Dino Arcalys Pro, providing a real scary moment as a wild card, but then coming back in the last event at his sort of home event in Spain, bringing the thunder, getting himself into the top 15 there with an 11th place finish, and Joan Aracil proving that he belongs here in the field at the Freeride World Tour, looking like he's going to be pushing at a start number 3. You can see just a light breeze. Val Thorens just sprawling out behind. These valleys are enormous, and you can see the backdrop here, snow covered on every aspect. If anybody's not watching this competition right now, they are going to be absolutely loading up on powder, because this is a magic day here in the Trois Vallées.
And there's still a lot of tracks out there to be had. If you haven't booked your ticket to Val Thorens, maybe today is the day to do so.
All right, so just getting word from event control that we're just on a little bit of a hold here while the ski dudes are collecting Edvin Olsen's ski. So we will have Joan Aracil pushing out a start 3 as soon as the venue is clear. You certainly don't want to be backflipping into Edvin's ski or a ski runner who's trying to find it. So as we just look here at the crowd building, this is one of about 15 pockets of people scattered all over this Val Thorens hillside that are just loving the action here at the Freeride World Tour by Peak Performance.
The crowd is wild, and you know, to be honest, Derek, I'm still processing the idea that Ross decided going in backwards at the top of this venue was his goal.
Yeah, wow. I mean, that's why he wanted to push out with some pace. Ross Tester, he's just bringing unique, creative aspects and abilities to this that we haven't seen before. Every single time he pushes out of the gate, you just have no idea what you're going to see. So this is tough, you know, mentally for Joanne right now, having this hold when you're in the gate. What does that do for a rider?
Exactly, but we see Edwin now is coming down the face. He's got both of his skis back. But yeah, that mental game when there's a delay really makes you question everything that you've been doing.
sometimes it's like the question of a bit too much time to think. You know, you need to not turn your brain off, but you do need to be locked into competition mode, and you get these weird delays and gaps, and they can have an effect on an athlete. But we are locked in and ready for the Andorran rider Joan Aracil riding out of Ordino Arcalis. A strong result in stop number 1, and Joan now on the move on the Lac Noir face.
Heading towards that first feature that we've seen a ton of backflips off.
You'd be crazy to bet against. Oh, a 360 for Joan Aracil, landing perfectly. That was beautiful. And now back in control where we saw other riders flying. Now the backflip. Joan Aracil, over the front. He does have both his skis, though, so that's a great start for Joan Aracil as he is able to continue this run.
He really makes a solid... This man can turn. He can make a solid turn.
Whoa, yes! Plunging into the powder. Joan Aracil going for an absolute country mile. That top nugget, it's got a... now that it has a track into it, the riders can take that as far as they want. And Joan with the huge spread eagle flying off that.
So nice. He said he's been working a lot with a mental coach, and I think that really shows. He was able to handle that break. He had some bobbles, but smooth, clean riding for the rest of it.
Yeah, and the 360 off the top, I think that's the first non-backflip off that feature that we've seen. I was ready for a backflip here, and Joan Aracil just flipping the script and changing the plot on us for doing a perfect 360. If you watch his Instagram, he's got a deep, deep bag of tricks, and he's out there just sending all the time, flipping, spinning. As he approaches this first one, he had a little funky foot thing there, but then the 360 couldn't have been better.
It's like he never took off the way he landed.
Lofty backflip, so laid out into the somersault, and no break in fluidity as he kind of got a bit sat down there. And then this one, look how far he goes.
Just the hang time.
Yeah, he almost went Eddie the Eagle style, getting the wind under his skis, trying to direct himself in the air a little bit. The Mammut line tracker showing extremely direct, except for that little deviation from the fall line there for Joan Aracil after. He's loving it, though.
Got the big one. Yeah. Nice, dude. Oh, fuck.
All right, here comes the score for Joan Aracil with that control issue of 53.67. So Joan into 11th, and you know, with the field kind of exploding in some cases the way it has, there's still a potential for a keeper result here for Joan. He's already got an 11th, so we'll see, but there is still a big handful of talent stacked up. Martin Bender right now in first place in the hot seat for a while. He dropped 8th. We're down to 18th. So 10 big challenges fended off for the Swiss rider as he sits in the hot seat. But we're back up to start number 2 with Whistler Freeride Club's Wei Tian Ho. He's a peak performance rider. He is so unique in his line choice. He's looking at different sections of the face all the time. He's only 20 years old. This man has such a unique way of looking at faces, and he just wants to do things that are interesting to him. So getting out of the gate, he has to go uphill a little bit. Again, as you said earlier, Hadley, no dock on fluidity for the riders if they need to get up and over something at the start. It doesn't start judging until they drop in. And look at the void under Wei Tian here. Into the powder, picking up speed with a huge 360. Wei Tian executing, getting things started with a bang. And now into this track, Wei Tian into the speed talk, just trying to carry across the flats here. What a hot start for the young Whistler rider.
Really perfect. He loves a transfer, which requires a certain set of eyeballs.
Well, and he's certainly got the eye. Now into the powder, Wei Tian Ho picking up speed. Oh, screaming seaman all the way down, landing, getting control again. His feet are so quick. Huge 360 for Wei Tian Ho. Sticks it! Oh! The crowd erupting here. The Canadian rider putting on a clinic.
Oh. Massive backflip.
Oh no, Wei Tian, another victim to that low air.
Oh, the heartbreak. That top of this line was so unique, so special. He rode it like nobody else.
The deep snow down there. Wei Tian, you can see his ski poking up, his pole. The piece is just coming off. The snow is so deep down there, and Wei Tian Ho was on a heater before it came apart on that final huge feature.
Oh, I loved the top of his run. That was so unique, so special. And I think it's, this bottom section also is where a lot of slough is accumulating throughout the day. So it's not only the fresh snowfall, it's all of the other snow on top of it from the riders.
Let's look back at the top of this, Hadley. Big powder cloud launching the 360 cross court, so he has transition there.
A little throwback to the 80s.
Landing in that deep powder and then right into this 360, rotating the right amount, going way down in the powder.
Perfect.
So
stop.
Good. And this is where things went wrong for Wei Tian. Down to the bottom. I think he landed in a hole. He landed in the hole of one of the other riders, and just the G out there is so instantaneous, getting flipped over the front. So Wei Tian Ho, he's got one of his skis.
Looks like one potentially is just right above him.
So that pit taking no prisoners there. Wei Tian Ho was on one, but unfortunately the last feature, as we've seen from quite a few riders here, gobbling him up as he went all the way down into the landing and landing in a bomb hole. So that's another one of the challenges of a powder comp, especially for these riders dropping a little bit later in the field, is those bomb holes. They have a lot of shape. They go deep, they go back uphill at the front side of them.
Wow, but spectacular riding, and if this is the kind of riding we're seeing out of him in his early 20s, we've got a full, long career ahead that I can't wait to watch.
Yeah, Wei Tian Ho, not going to be his day, but he is certainly not the only one. As we're looking here, the next man in the gate, Marcus Goguen. We've got the folks from Carve on board this year, measuring the forces and the speeds. So the G forces there as Marcus Goguen impacted into the ground, 7 Gs. That is fighter pilot territory. Rocket launch. We saw Tom Pfeiffer as well, Carve measuring 16 Gs in his Tomahawk. So Marcus now getting set to go. Marcus Goguen making a huge splash in his debut on the Freeride World Tour. He was the Peak Performance Fun Bet fan favorite. He is going to be dropping from start number 1. Buckle your seatbelts for this run because there is action in store for us. Marcus Goguen, the next man pushing out of the gate, took a couple of wins last year and brought the battle to Mats Hitzig for the overall title. Marcus Goguen riding out of Whistler, BC. Another product of the Whistler Freeride Club. These kids are just going off. And best friends since childhood with our last rider, Wei Tian Ho. But now on course and ready to spice things up. Marcus Goguen kicking out on the Lac Noir.
Out of start 1, riding down that ridgeline. What?
Whoa!
Are you kidding me?
Backflipping off the cornice, over the rocks, onto the left ski. Marcus Goguen getting a little tangled up in the powder, and now trying to gather speed as Marcus above all these rocks. Just holding on there.
Oh, my mouth is on the floor.
What? Another 360. Marcus Goguen packing more into the shortest piece of terrain on this run. A big shifty down into the powder. What are they feeding this guy? That was
speechless. What a run. What he was able to do with such a small section and such a steep section of the venue was incredible.
Yeah, we've seen this as a hallmark of Marcus's runs where he's got the send, but the ski technique to change direction at 1,000 miles an hour in unsettled or variable conditions, some powder, some not. On that steep part, there's some slough that's run down, so you never quite know. You saw at one point a ski kick up, but he's able to make turns in places and at speeds that other people just can't make, and pack features into a run that just almost don't make sense. Adding one there, that one was just for him.
Fun. Big tumble. These riders love to ski. I mean, that's below the judging point and still not able to pass up an air.
Can't resist. Cannot resist. Well, Marcus Goguen, let's look back up at the top of this run, Hadley.
Just straight, full commitment. This is a huge backflip.
Off the cornice and over the cliff. And then straight off this one. Now he's got to get on that left foot to change direction. And then coming into this, 360ing over the band of rocks. Click, clack, bingo, bango. He's done. That was so quick, so fast, and so packed with action on that far skier's right side of the face. Oh, I don't envy the judges right now. You know, comparing that to what Martin Bender did, I don't even know how you do it. It was in such a different place as these two friends catch up.
That's so sick.
You want to go good? Obviously. Whew. That was pretty sketchy. It's kind of hard to ski how deep it is.
Yeah, but it was really, really steep, huh? Nice line.
Thanks, boss. Well, happy I landed. Not what was planned, but c'est bon.
C'est bon.
C'est bon.
Marcus putting that elementary school French to use as we now look at the people who have things in their hands, that panel of judges.
3 of them?
Yeah.
Sick.
Not very original, but...
No.
Well, I love hearing the catch-up chat after the runs.
Yeah, Marcy. A little deeper in there than you thought.
So we have the 2022 Junior World Champ and the 2023 Junior World Champ. Now here, waiting for the judges to have their say. So comparing the criteria, the line score, the technique, the fluidity, the air and style, definitely for both of these riders. Pumping out off the top of the scale.
Yeah, I fully improv'd it. It was a backup plan, plan B.
What's it good? Did it feel good though?
It was okay. I'm just happy I landed, honestly.
Okay, well, the judges have had their say. 91.67 is the score to beat. Does not quite. 88.67. So Marcus Goguen only into third there with that run. So the judges having their say. It's not going to be enough to knock Martin Bender out of the hot seat, but still a podium position so far. But 2 riders still to go. Oscar Mundin, the Frenchman, now down into third. So Valley Rayner's run, the judges deciding had a little bit more meat on it than what we saw there from Marcus Goguen. Incredible action here in the Freeride World Tour. The Val Thorens Pro providing fireworks for the ski men as we are back up to the top, and this is another huge threat. The Kiwi, the man riding at a treble cone. He took a win last year in Fieberbrunn with one of the smoothest runs we've ever seen on the Freeride World Tour. Ben Richards, 24 years old, and he is a huge threat here to that hot seat spot of Martin Bender. Ben Richards has been having a blast in Val Thorens, and I know he's going to have a good time on this run.
I can't wait. Ski Racer Taylor is 18, so he's so good at technical riding, but man, he likes to spend a lot of time in the air.
Oh, the smoothness of that 360. He just makes it look so effortless, floating a lofty crosscourt, exploding into the powder, and a totally different take on this feature. Wow, Ben Richards, full pin, that is textbook Ben Richards, almost never deviating from the fall line, doesn't need to slow down because he knows exactly where he's going, just enough change in direction to go where he wants to go, and then full throttle off of every feature.
Like a warm knife through butter. That man is smooth.
Yeah, if you had to draw a Ben Richards run, that was it. The 360 at the top, just all effortless smoothness, and Ben now just flipping into the bottom section here, making his way through these bumps, trying to stay upright through the tracks.
I always am amazed by his skiing is the fact that you notice other skiers, their legs are getting thrown side to side, but watch when he lands. It's so solid and so smooth. There's no impact, there's no wobbling, there's no wiggling. It's just perfect.
Yeah, and this trajectory, so nice, where other people are getting impacted in the landing. Look at the bars, control, technique, fluidity. It can't go higher. If it could shatter through the end of it, it would, because Ben Richards executing absolutely perfectly.
Oh, sick, bro. The best flow as always. For you. So steady.
Yeah, Bender giving Ben some props there for always finding the best snow. He's a POW hunter.
Sexy Benji.
This guy.
All right, we're waiting for the score
We can say hello
for
to
the
Adam.
Kiwi
Hello.
standout. A legend in the making on the Freeride World Tour. Bender wearing the Valaisan flag of the Valais region of Switzerland. Ben representing for the Kiwi crew. Only got 2 Kiwis on the World Tour this year.
And he's really continuing that Paul, Jackie's brother, Andrew Pollard's style of just smooth transitions.
Oh yeah, passing it down from Drew Tabke to Andrew Pollard, now to Ben Richards. There's always at least one rider.
What's that? Yeah.
Yeah, Ben always was with such good style. And as we said, the Kiwis just producing year after year after year some of the best free riders on the planet. And Ben Richards definitely holding the torch for that crew right now with that run. The judges, once again, you know, they've got their work cut out for them. Comparing what Martin did, what Ben did, what Marcus did, what Valley did, they're all super different, but all unbelievably impressive. Such strong riding from this crew. The level is just insane right now, and I love watching it. Having a front row seat to this show is pretty special.
We're enjoying it. A few hundred Frenchmen to our left are enjoying it, and I hope you at home are enjoying as well.
Well, how could you not? I mean, we are seeing the Val Thorens Pro blowing up here with such spectacular action from all the ski men. And let's not forget, this is the first category of 4. Here we go. Score coming in for Ben Richards as we move up and up and up. 80 points for Ben Richards. So that is going to put him into 7th so far with only one person to go. And the crowds are going to go buck for this next rider. Well, look at this guy. He has been in the hot seat for a hot minute, and he is looking pretty comfortable there. The French crowd's on the hillside. We got flags, we got signs, we have cutout head. Oh, that's Virgil Didier, the cutout, the big head cutout of the next man who will be dropping out of the gate. Another French rider from just down the road in Chamonix, France. Virgil Didier with a great start. He was the first rider of the season in ski men to kick things off at the last event. He's a rookie on the tour. He skied like a veteran, and he is now doing it for the home crowd. Goosebumps across as the crowd gets ready to watch their hometown hero fire it up. 24 years old. Virgil Didier finishing 9th at the last event, so sitting 9th in the overall standings. And he is ready to go. Virgil Didier on the Lac Noir.
Dropping into the face, another person that's great at blending the ski racing style and the huge technique and huge airs as well. Going someplace a little bit new and different.
Whoa, big backflip into the powder with a huge face shot. The crowd going nuts here as Virgil Didier on this kind of untapped section, now coming into some tracks, popping a big backflip over the entire section. Oh! Virgil Didier, is he going to come? Well, he comes out of the cloud. Who knows what happened there? Not us. And off the nose.
Perfect control, perfect technique. Where other people have been having problems, he just knew how to control himself down and then dropped into his now what's become a signature tuck.
Yeah, Virgil Didier always looking for a bit more speed on any competition face, waving the pole. The French crowd loving this. This is the last rider in the ski men's category. And this track going out is starting to get a little bit rugged.
He hears his fans. You know, he's coached by sort of the local legend here, Kevin Gurry, and you can really see it. Again, we talked about these kids have been coached from so young, and they're really entering the Freeride World Tour with such experience, such knowledge, and such high skill sets.
Well, as we look back here, I mean, that didn't even look like a takeoff, but Virgil Didier just punting out into the powder field. And this one, over all those rocks, perfect landing. A little bit, maybe he got tipped onto his side on that one. He disappeared into the powder cloud, so it was hard to tell. And you can see that was really smart because you could see Virgil ski past the bomb holes where Edvin and Wei Chen and Simon got gobbled up. He took that a little bit shorter, landed on his feet.
Yeah.
There we see the crowd going wild.
Well, we are getting a show here.
Yes. C'est fédéral.
The Scott pro rider putting on a show for his hometown fans there. Virgile Didier, as you said, you know, he's working with Kevin Gurry. Kevin has been instrumental in getting this event off the ground. You know, putting it to first the folks at the Freeride Tour, then bringing it to the people here in Val Thorens to connect the dots and get a Freeride World Tour stop in Val Thorens, France. And huge thanks to Kevin for making that happen. He was a forerunner. He was cutting cornices. Now he's helping guide the ski runners when people go down. He is working hard, and Virgile Didier doing his part here for the hometown crowd. An enormous run for the young French rider out of Chamonix. Wow.
La première, quand je l'ai ouvert, j'étais là, oh.
Ouais. Toi, t'as été vif.
Allez, à la maison, un petit podium pour les copains. Les copains.
Non, peu importe les résultats, nous on est là. On est là.
He's asking the judges to put him on the podium. He's done his part. Now it's up to the judges. That was a strong run for the French rider. The crowd's electric. The vibe absolutely firing here. A powder comp in Val Thorens. The Trois Vallées providing the backdrop for this incredible show. That was the last rider in the ski men's category. So the worst Martin Bender can do is second right now. The judges have it in their hands as they're putting all the categories into play. The riders needing to meet all the criteria: line score, technique, fluidity, air and style, and so many aspects that the riders need to hit. And the catch-up chat here between them. Virgile going back to his spot. Got to stay in front of that backdrop. The Scott rider there just lighting it up. And here we go. The score. It goes up, 80.67 for Virgile Didier. It puts him into 7th, which means, and you can hear it in the background, Martin Bender has won his first Freeride World Tour competition. This was something everyone felt like was coming sometime or another. And let's take a look, Hadley, at where this leaves us for the overall, or the event scoreboard here at the Val Thorens Pro.
So we've got Martin Bender, the Swiss rider, in first. Valle, the Austrian, in second. Marcus Goguen with a heater run in third. Oscar Menden, the French legend, and Matisse rounding it out in fifth.
So French fans with 2 in the top 5. Ross Tester down there in 12th with that absolutely futuristic run. Toby Rafford, here we see a whole bunch of NSs there. No score. That means a ski or both skis came off. And that is a big number of no scores here. But that's one of the things that we kind of get in a powder comp. People go ballistic. Here we see our podium.
Let's go!
So the international who's who of freeride, Swiss, Austrian, and Canadian on the podium there. Martin Bender, Valerie Rayner, and Marcus Goguen, 1, 2, 3 at the Val Thorens Pro. Incredible action here. Let's see what this has done to our overall standings. Now, Valerie Rayner, the 23 world champ, moving into the top spot. Martin Bender taking a big jump up into second overall. Ross Tester, Ben Richards, and Timo Rolshoven. That is your top 5. And we see a little bit of a shakeup here as we move down the rankings. Now, Turdell on the line and Joanne Aracil on the outside of the window looking in as we go all the way down. A couple of riders there, Maxime Chablot and Tom Pfeiffer, with 2 crashes in a row. Tams Marvell, unfortunately unable to compete as he's had a knee injury. But we all send our best wishes out to Tams. Cannot wait to see you back. Stay tuned.